Good morning, class. Welcome to the live online classes. Today I'm going to continue with chapter 1, history and study and sources. Now, last time only I told you what is a source means. It means evidence. But in geography, it means resource, natural resources. So basically, we have, three sources of history which I have explained you in the last class, but I'm telling you today also. Historians make use of a number of sources to reconstruct or create a past or to create a story. These sources can be divided into three main types or three main followings. They are known as archaeological sources, literary sources, and foreign travelers account. This is also known as travelogue. So the first source that I'm going to discuss is archaeological. archaeological, archaeological, sources. Sources. Now, during the course of the history, that is from the earliest time to the present, when we are studying about these sources, we come to know from our history book that a number of civilization I told you last time only, in the last class only I told you that it is a human society, where people live together, is a civilization, So during the course of history, a number of civilization, began or emerged, and they also vanished from our earth. When one civilization ended, another emerged to take its place. So one after another, people started living in that particular area, like the Indus Valley civilization. Like the Indus Valley civilization is also known as Harappan civilization, like the Chinese civilization, like the Mesopotamian civilization, like the Egyptian civilization. Today, in Discovery Channel, we are hearing that, archaeologists have discovered a new site in Uttar Pradesh, that is in Sinauli. That is a contemporary of Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley civilization people were peace-loving people. We learn from our history book and historians. But today we come to know that in Sinauli, the society was such that they were warrior class people. Swords, etc., and even the chariots were found in Uttar Pradesh, which tells us a new light in history. So, a number of civilizations basically grew in many parts of the world, and one after another civilization took its place. In this process, the remains of the civilization got buried inside the earth. So, when the civilization dies or declines, the remains of the past or remains of the people, the things that they use, like utensils, pots are basically what we call bhara bartan, which are used for cooking, storing food, etc. Ornaments, etc. got buried deep inside the earth. So in this process, the remains of civilization got buried under the earth. Not only this archaeological remains, but also the monuments, buildings got buried deep inside the earth into successive layers of the earth. So our soil is made of different layers. Our soil is made of different layers, which we will be studying in class 7. I'll be teaching you about that. It is known as O horizon, A horizon, B horizon, etc. There are successive layers of the soil. So these archaeological findings got buried deep inside the earth. They are known as remains. Remains are basically things left by people of the past. The archaeologists dig these mounds. Mounds means a hill, mound. Whenever I am talking about mound, M-O-U-N-D, mound. Mound is a hill, a rounds up hill. Now, if you go to the sweet wala, in bazaar also, if you want to have a sweet, you have a heap of laddus also, no? Heap, H-E-A-P, heap. Heap is a word used. Heap of laddus means, a mountain of laddus is given there, no? Laddu is kept like this way, like a mountain. This is known as heap. This is also called a mound. Are you understanding? The archaeologists dig these mounds in a systematic manner. So this hill okay, where these things were found buried deep inside the earth, okay, were digged in a systematic manner, in a precise and accurate manner, so that they would not spoil the things that was left by the people of the past. The archaeologists did these mounds in a systematic manner to unfold the history of that period, to know the history of that period. Because archaeologists, by looking at this, okay, what we call, evidences, they study the past. So it is very important that we protect and preserve these things which were found of the past. The excavation of various sites in India. Now, whenever we are talking about excavation, E-X-C-A-V-A-T-I-O-N, excavation means, okay, the another simple word is called, okay, D-I-G-G-I-N-G, digging. Digging means digging the earth, digging the soil, okay. So, excavation means digging the earth with the help of, okay, tools, okay, in order to take out the evidences of the earliest past. So, the excavation of various sites in India. So, we are talking about India. We are not talking about any other country. We are talking about India. In India, we have, okay, excavation places like Chiran, that is in Bihar, okay, Tekalakota in Bellary district, that is in Karnataka. If you refer to your book in page number 3, I think so, okay, and Pik Hilal in Raichur district, Madhya Pradesh, okay. The Ajanta and Ellora caves. I think you have heard of Ajanta and Ellora caves. The Soar temple at Mahabalipuram, Kamakshi temple at Kanchipuram have shown, okay, 4 main archaeological sources of history. There are 4 main archaeological sources of history that is found from these sites. What are they? So, archaeological sources have been found from the Indian sites, from the Indian places where the people lived in the past in India. And what are these archaeological sources? There are 4 types of archaeological sources. 4 types of archaeological sources. A-R-C-H-A-E-O-L-O-G-I-C-A-L. Archaeological sources. The first one is known as inscriptions. The first one is known as inscriptions. I-N-S-C-R-I-P-T-I-O-N. Inscriptions. So we are talking about the archaeological sources only. Remember that. By looking at the places of the earliest past, we found 4 types of archaeological sources. The first archaeological source is known as inscriptions. Okay. The second is known as coins. Now, what is a coin? You know it. Okay. The third is monuments. M-O-N-U-M-E-N-T-S, monuments. Monuments means buildings, okay? And the fourth one is articraft, okay? Or artifacts, okay? Now, I'm going to explain each one of it, okay? So, please pay attention, okay? The first one I'm going to explain, the archaeological source is known as inscriptions, okay? It is known as inscriptions. The first archaeological source that I am going to explain is I-N-S-C-R-I-P-T-I-O-N-S, inscriptions in detail. Okay? Inscriptions are writing. So what are the inscriptions? Inscriptions are writing. Like you are writing in a piece of paper when I am teaching you. Okay? Writing. When you write, you carve a word. Isn't that so? You C-A-R-V-E, carve a word with the help of pencil or a pen. Are you getting my point? So, carving means what? Engraving. G-R-A-V-I-N-G. It is known as engraving. So, inscriptions are writing engraved on hard surfaces. In the olden times, they did not have paper. Paper was not invented in the olden times. So, they used to write on hard surfaces like rocks, stones, and even pillars. Are you getting my point? So, what are pillars? Have you heard of Asokan pillar? So, Asokan pillar in Mehrauli as well as in Delhi. Okay. So, in the olden times, the king used to write, okay, rules and regulations in the pillars. They did not have a proper pen also, or a stylus also. They used to write with a hammer and a name. That is known as carving. And this carving is known as inscriptions, okay? So inscriptions are writing engraved on the hard surface like rock, pillars, and even on the walls of caves. Today also, okay, when you are inside the class and if you are not paying attention, you start writing on the decks. That is also known as carving, no? Are you understanding? As well as clay tablets. Now, what are clay tablets? They used to write in the clay tablets also. What is clay? Clay means mud, wet mud. So, they made a tablet or stone slab. Like when you go in a cemetery, have you seen a cemetery? A graveyard. You find a slab of stone where a person's name is written there. And you find a grave there. You find a grave there. This is known as a slab. This is known as a slab. On the slab also we write things. Are you understanding? So clay tablet was like a slab of mud. But when you dried that mud in the sun, okay, then it was not hard as the mud which was burned in the fire. Are you understanding? These slabs basically worked as a page. Are you understanding? So clay tablets, stone tablets were used, and even metal plates were used. Metal plates means we are talking about coins. Now coins is another thing which gives us an important information of the period, okay, of that period, their religious life, who ruled during that period, who was there, what happened during that period. This all gives us information. If you look at the money also that you are carrying in your pocket, okay, it has a picture of Gandhiji. If you look at the 5 rupee note also, there will be a tractor there. The old 5 rupees note I am talking about, okay, there is a tractor there which tells us, okay, during that period a green revolution was started. It gives us a picture. In the 10 rupees note also you have animals there. It gives us information about the national animals. Are you understanding? So these coins are gives us valuable information. Likewise, metal plates were used. Okay, the study of these inscriptions is known as epigraphy. So whenever we are talking about the study of inscriptions is known as epigraphy. The study of inscriptions is known as epigraphy. Okay. So what does inscription mean? It means epigraph. It means epigraph. The study of inscriptions is known as epigraphy. What is inscription? It is epigraph. Okay. A person who is studying this inscription is called epigrapher or epigraphist. Are you understanding? So what is the study of inscriptions called? Epigraphy. What does inscription mean? What is the meaning of inscriptions? Okay, I'm writing on the blackboard, okay, so that you don't get confused. Study of inscriptions means epigraphy, okay. Inscriptions means epigraph. So inscriptions means epigraph, okay. The person who is studying, okay, the person who study inscriptions, INSCRIPTION, inscriptions, okay. The person who studies inscriptions is known as epigraphist or epigrapher. Are you getting my point? So most of the inscriptions are order issued by the king so that the people could see, read and obey them. So what was inscriptions in the olden times? Why were they used? They were used to tell a message by the king so that the people can look, okay, read and obey the king. Okay, so they did not have a paper, so they did not have a book, a pile of books. So they had a pillar. On that pillar they used to write, okay, messages of the kings, and this message was basically written in a public place like the market, etc., okay, where the people gather the most, etc. It was, okay, basically put in that place, okay, or established in that place where the people can basically visit often, or basically when the people gather most often, so that all the people knew about the rules and regulations of the kings. Some inscriptions describe religious teachings also. So like whenever we are talking about, okay, religious teachings, we are talking about Buddhism. We are talking about Buddhism, like Asoka Chakra, okay, that you find in Bihar. Asoka Chakra, which tells us about Dhamma, okay, which is written in a, okay, what we call mud tablet, okay. Some inscriptions describe religious teachings, records of war, okay, who fought war during which period, okay, reign or achievements of a king also. It also tells us the period during which a particular king ruled during that time. This inscriptions gives us valuable information about the past of the kings, okay, who ruled during the earliest past, and their achievements, or what we call success. Whereas some give valuable information about various rulers, okay, who ruled our India, society, what kind of people lived in our society in the earliest past, and religious belief. That time I was telling you, Indus Valley people were peace-loving people, and how we come to know? Because we found only, okay, farming tools in when the archaeologists dig the earth. They did not found any weapons. They did not find any weapons there. So they assumed, okay, they thought that this Indus Valley people were peace-loving people, okay. So religious belief, if you find a deity made of mud, then you will believe which deity was worshipped during that earliest time, okay. Deity means God, okay, if you don't remember, okay. So economic conditions of the people, what kind of occupation they did, okay. Were they farmers, or they domesticated animals? Do you know what is domestication of animals? Keeping of animals for milk, food, okay, ghee, etc. Are you understanding? So economic conditions of the people and position of women in the society. Now we have to consider this very, very important. What was the condition of the women in the earliest past? Were they equal with the men or not? Are you understanding? Did they have equal rights or not? This also gives us a valuable information. So these inscriptions basically gives us valuable information of the past of the people, as well as their, okay, caste system, as well as the religion, as well as the occupation, as well as the rulers who ruled during that period, and the position of women in the society, okay. For example, the earliest inscription in the Indian subcontinent are found. Now, India is called a subcontinent. Are you understanding? India is called a subcontinent here, which I will be explaining you in detail in geography why it is called a subcontinent. But I don't want to go there. So, the earliest inscriptions in the Indian subcontinent are found on the seals. Seals means what? What is a seal? Okay, seal is like a stamp. Now, I'm not talking about an animal. It is a S-E-A-L, seal. Seal is like a stamp. Okay. A stamp which Raju sir or Sanjay sir also use in the office to mark a page, etc., to mark a good, etc. Okay, the seals of Harappa that belong to 3000 BCE. So the earliest inscriptions are found in the form of seals. In India, how many seals are found? Okay, I want to tell you more than 2000 seals are found in India, in Indus Valley alone. Are you understanding? The edicts of Asoka. Now, edicts means the pillars of Asoka, and Allahabad pillar inscriptions of Samudragupta also, okay, are religious and administrative inscriptions. Why they are called religious? Because Asoka basically, after waging a war against Kalinga, Kalinga is a place in Odisha today, Odisha. Asoka fought a great war. At the time, he killed more than 3 lakh people, okay. And after the war, what happened to him was he waged a war just to fulfill his ambition only. His ambition only. His aim was to conquer the whole of India at the time. But when he conquered the whole of India, he lost many men there. Some lost brothers, some lost fathers, some lost, okay, basically husbands, etc. So war was not good. Therefore, he converted himself to Buddhism. Are you understanding? So his religious teachings are basically inscribed or carved in a pillar. Are you understanding? So he wanted to tell people that war is not a good thing. You have to follow Dhamma. Dhamma means Dharma. Okay? Do you know what is a Dharma? Dharma means religion. Are you understanding? Allahabad inscriptions of Samudragupta are also the same. Okay? The iron pillar at Mehrauli in Delhi has inscriptions from the times of Chandragupta II of the Gupta dynasty. Now, whenever we are coming across Gupta dynasty or Gupta period is known as the golden period. Why it is called the golden period is basically people were wealthy and rich during this period. There were no poor people at that time when Guptas were ruling India. Are you getting my point? Inscriptions written in Pali and Prakrit language throw light on religions like Jainism and Buddhism. Now, I want to tell you something about Buddhism. Buddhism was started by Gautama Buddha. Jainism was started by Mahavira. Are you understand? Buddhism basically, okay, use language like Pali language to preach people, to teach people Pali language, the oldest language. Are you understanding? Whereas Mahavira, the founder of Jainism, basically preached in Prakrit language. Today, Hindus are speaking Devanagari script. We are talking about Devanagari script, but our oldest language is Brahmi, Brahmi. Are you understanding? I am giving you a little bit more information about the languages which were used in the olden times. The second, okay, topic that I am going to discuss is, okay, in the archaeological sources is known as coins. It is known as C-O-I-N-S, coins. Now, by the word coins only you understand what does a coin mean. It means khudra paisa. No? Coins form an important source of history. In ancient times, paper currency was not in use. People did not use paper currency. Remember that. Paper currency was not used. So, what was in use? It was coins made of metals like copper. Do you know what is copper? Yeah, silver, gold or lead were common. Some of these coins contain symbols. Now, if you look at the coin also, today also if you take out one of the coins from your pocket also, you'll come to know that, okay, coins give lots of information also. Let's see if I have a coin. Now, if you look at the 2 rupee note also, okay, 2 rupee coin also, sorry, you have a finger there. Yeah, that is a symbol, that is a sign, there is a picture there which tells something about that. Are you understanding? It gives a valuable information. And when this coin was made, it is also written there. During which period? 1998, 2001, etc. Okay. So, it gives valuable information. So, some of these coins contain symbols, whereas others include the names and images of the rulers also. Are you getting my point? It has some names and images of the rulers who ruled during that time and who basically made this coin. Are you understanding? Like if you look at the dollar, you have a picture of a president or a queen, etc. No, are you understanding? Like if you look at India's currency note also, you have picture of Gandhiji, the the father of a nation. Are you getting my point? It gives us a certain kind of information. He is the father of the nation. Are you understanding? So, whereas the others include the names and images of the rulers and also the dates of the ascension. Okay. Now, whenever I'm using this word, A-C-C-E-S-S-I-O-N, ascension. Okay. Ascension means during which time the ruler basically climbed on the throne. Do you know what is a throne? Do you know what is a throne? Throne is a place where, or the chair on which the king or a queen basically sits. Are you understanding? So, during which time, okay, that queen or a queen sat on the throne. Are you understand? That is known as ascension. These coins throw light on the art also. What kind of art and architecture was that? Architecture means what kind of buildings were there? What kind of, okay, art form was that? Okay, religion, okay, trade. Trade means business was carried during that period. So, the study of coin is known as, now you have to write it down. It's not in a book, I think so. Okay, numismatic, okay, it's known as numismatic. You write it in some rough copy, etc. This is known as, the study of coins is known as numismatic, okay. Okay, for example, much information of the Gupta who founded the great empire in India after the Mayuras, okay, is rebuilt by the gold and silver coins used during the Gupta period. Now, Gupta period, that time only I told you, it's a golden period. And people were wealthy during this period because they used only gold coins and silver coins to do business, to sell goods as well as to buy goods. Are you understanding? This shows that the people were wealthy during the rule of the Gupta kings. So, this is known as a golden period. Roman coins are also found. Now, Roman coins are also found, okay, in India. Now, Romans, it is in Italy. Roman coins were found in India. This gives us information that the Romans had business with India by sea route. They used to come to India to buy things from us, some of the things from us, and we used to sell some of the things to them. So, they used to give us coin. So, therefore, the coins are found in India and our coins are found in Roman Empire. Are you getting my point? So with this, I have finished some of the topics of archaeological sources. In the next class, I'll be doing the leftover topics, that is monuments and artifacts, okay, of archaeological sources. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.